Good morning, folks. We're back out of Dad's shop today, and today we are going to be working on this camp stove. This is the camp stove that I got out of the free pile up at the Cornstock Lantern Festival. That was my video from 2 weeks ago. So if you want to see the first part of what I did on this camp stove, you're going to have to go back, watch that video. I will put a link to that video in the description of this one, but it's just my video from 2 weeks ago. I picked up this camp stove, and when I saw it in the free pile, my idea was to get it going and use it for cooking my biscuits and gravy on Sunday morning. But as I say in that video, there's just too many things working against me at that time, and I ended up not being able to get it working there. I did get it lit, but I had too many things going wrong and not enough tools to work on it properly there. I just was noticing now, I didn't even pay any attention when I was up there. All these little dings, I'll bet are from a BB gun. They look just about the right size for somebody to have been shooting at this with a BB gun. So let's open it up here. It's actually a pretty nice AGM KampKook camp stove. We've done a video on a KampKook camp stove once before. Here we go, I'll show you the sticker on it. The sticker's still in pretty darn good shape. Oh, and when I recorded the video of this up there, I was showing these instructions that were in it, and it did not even, I didn't even realize that is the instructions that are right there on the inside of that flap. He just took a picture of it and blew it up so I could read it better.
Oh, there you go.
That's pretty neat.
Them flaps looked like they were never painted.
Yeah, I think they were. I think they were like a gray paint, and it's just worn off of most of them. This one looks definitely more, if you look on this side, looks like it's been painted.
On the edge over here too.
So when I was up there at the lantern get together, this has got the pump / fuel cap all in one piece, and I ended up breaking the check valve off the end of this pump, so that pump was pretty much rendered useless. I just saved all the parts and threw back in here, and that's when I first gave up on it. And then I realized I had all the parts I needed to convert that pump to a Schrader valve pump, which I've done with Thermos brand. Yeah, I can never remember what brand that is. Thermos brand lantern. Because I do not like these one piece, or one, like the cap and the fuel pump are all together in one unit. So I put this together up there. Jesus. Apparently I tightened the hell out of it too. Actually, I do remember I threaded the cap on, then tightened up this jam nut on there for the valve stem, because I did not have gasket material to make a good gasket on this. I used the O-ring that was out of the pump originally, and then tightened down the jam nut after that was together, because that squishes out the gasket that came with this valve stem, and that gasket that came with the valve stem is probably not fuel rated, because you usually don't run fuel in your tires. So I put it together just trying to get it good enough to use there, and it was fighting me. And the only way I could air it up is to carry it over to the motorhome and use my little 12-volt air compressor over there. So I gave up on it, and I said in that video we will revisit this after I get it home. And that is what we're doing today. Here's the check valve that I broke off at the end of the pump, or part of it anyway. Too bad I missed that call. I saw it flash up there for a second saying potential spam. Now, this is supposed to be a fuel rated Schrader valve. I took the original one out and put one that's good for fuel in there, and it's already destroyed. The gasket's out of it. So we're off to a bad start there.
Yeah.
Here's the O-ring that was on the original pump that I put in there. Here's the rubber gasket that comes with the new Schrader valve. It held up better than the piece inside the Schrader valve did. Okay, that rubber gasket was out of the inside of this cap because I tried just putting this cap on there. That makes more sense that got ate up by the fuel, because my brand new fuel rated Schrader valve inside of here was immediately leaking when I put it together. We'll pop it back out of there and take a look at it. Yeah, the gasket on there seems fine. I don't know why it was leaking past that immediately when it was brand new. But I've got more of these, so I'll put another brand new one in and try it. And then we're going to cut a gasket to put in here. I don't have thick enough gasket material that I really want, so I'm going to cut 2 of them out of this, stack them up. We'll put some copper coat in between them, put it together, see if we can make this thing work. It didn't leak fuel out though. I could see that the tank's still clear full because I filled it clear up thinking that I was going to be using it there. Alright, let me fold this stove back up, get it out of the way for while we're working on the fuel cap here. Ooh, I'm getting warm enough. I need to lose the long sleeves here.
So how old do you think that stove is?
I should have looked on the website to see, but I would say probably from the 50s or 60s by the design of it.
I was going to guess 50s.
Okay, let's see here. I have got figure out which drawer. I got all my tools in my new toolkit, and I got to remember what drawer I put everything in now. So these are the valve stems that I bought off of Amazon, and then I got fuel rated Schrader valves from oldcolemanparts.com, and I've used those before and never had any issues with them. So maybe I just happened to get one that was no good. That happens sometimes. If I put this in there and it leaks by again, then I do have some old Coleman pickup tubes with Schrader valves in them, and I'll try taking one of those out to put in there. But I don't see any reason why this shouldn't work. It worked on the other one that I put together for that lantern.
Yeah.
I'll put the Schrader valve back in there. Try to make sure I get it snug enough but not break it off in there. Alright, we're gonna have to
work around the doggy here.
Yeah.
You probably got better scissors.
Yeah, I got those heavy duty scissors in here that should work good for cutting this stuff, even though this isn't super thick. I'm gonna have to cut a little bit on the inside of my line because I had no good way to trace around the inside of that. So I'll just have to cut about 1/8 of an inch or so to the inside of my line. And then the centers, we should have a center hole punch big enough to knock out the holes in the center here. I stayed fairly close to being consistent around the inside of that. Needs to go a little bit smaller though to fit in there. It's okay to start big, you can always go smaller, but it's hard to make it bigger again once you already cut it too small. Just a hair more. That'll push up in there once I get the center hole knocked in them. I've got gasket material that would be just the right size for this, setting a home on the back porch. It does me a lot of good when I'm here, to just keep it there at home forever.
It'll last longer.
Yep. Ooh, that one's close. I need to cut a little bit more off of it, but not much. There we go. I'll hold that one up in there, mark down through here where the center hole needs to be, and get our, bought this set of center hole punches down at, oh no we didn't, I thought we bought this at Old Threshers, but it says right on it Homier. So back when the old Homier tool sales used to come through, we always called them the junk tool sales. When they came through, that must be where we got this from. Make sure that one's yep, back in the 90s when the old, always called them the junk tool sales when they came through town. Every one of these is clear full of punched out pieces of gasket from other stuff we've made. I'm just trying to find one that makes a hole big enough for the thing to go in, and that one looks like it'll do it. It's right on the edge of sliding all the way in there, so.
There's walking to the table with it.
I'm just gonna set my one gasket right on top of the other one, line them up good. Line up my center hole punch with the circle that I drew on there. These poor old punches aren't as sharp as they used to be, but they'll still punch right through there. Now I'll leave those chunks in there so the next time I use it I got to knock them out of there before I can use it that time.
What you're supposed to do.
Put these back down in the bottom drawer of the toolbox. Yeah, that for sure is from the late 90s if it's from Homier tool sales, because I don't think I've gone to one of those. I don't even think they do them anymore, the traveling tool sales. They might in larger towns, but... Okay, I'm going to spray some copper coat on these, then stack them up, and then spray the side that'll contact the inside of there with copper coat. So I'll pause the camera until I get that all put together. All right, those have been drying for like 12 seconds. That should be plenty long. I'm gonna make a mess out of myself here, but I gotta go down on that, then into there, and I can push that the rest of the way through. There we go. Then we've got it comes with this washer that's hollow on the bottom side, which works good because when you drill that out, you're left with a little ridge around there. So that washer slides right down over that. Now with any luck, this Schrader valve will hold, but like I said, if it doesn't, I've got some old pickup tubes out of the lanterns from the mid to late 90s that have Coleman, or I guess they're probably not Coleman Schrader valves, but they're whatever Coleman used when they were new.
Yeah.
We'll switch to one of those if we have to. That should be plenty tight. There we go. Now the bad thing about converting it to something like this is you have to have an air supply with you. You have to have an air compressor, or at home, if I'm going to burn that lantern, I just put 35 pounds of pressure in my air pig and then take it out to my table outside where I set up and burn lanterns at, and then I can repressurize it with that. Now let's see if that gasket, it's not leaking yet. I'll get my air regulator and pressure or tire chuck valves out here, and we'll put some pressure in it. Okay, you've seen this in a lot of videos. This is our regulator that we use on our air chuck. I'm going to set it to about 35 psi. You can see on the little gauge there. That way I can pressurize this, but I know I'm not getting it way past the recommended pressure by using an air compressor. I'll plug that again so it's not hissing the whole time here. Now, there, we're good this time. That Schrader valve is holding. Like I said, I've used them before from the old Coleman parts, never had any issues at all. So most likely I just got one bad Schrader valve from there. It happens. I'm not the least bit upset about it. Okay, let's get the stove back up here. And now that I'm able to easily maintain the pressure in the stove, I should be able to get the stove lit and burning properly.
A neat latch on there.
Yeah, it's kind of like that Preway has a slide latch like that on it, and it also has kind of the same thing where it latches over, the tank latches over the front, and then this comes down and has a notch to go over the burner. But on the Preway one, it all works in to make it set level too, because it's
Yeah, I remember.
they can call it a purse stove or something, because it tapers from one side to the other.
Yeah.
All right, well, if we're gonna do this, might as well fold those out like they're supposed to be. Oh, I didn't notice that before. Maybe. Nope, I guess not. I thought maybe these slots in there were made so that you could adjust it forward and back, but I don't think it does. They only They only line up really in one spot. So they do just go in that hole. I don't know what those extra slots are in there for. To make people wonder. Well, that's interesting. I never paid any attention to that before. And it may say something about that on the lanterns too. I know that those lanterns, thermos lanterns that take the same style pump. Thermos was owned by King Sealy, and this KampKook was AGM, but it says K Appliances, Clean Products Division, King Sealy Corporation, Albert Lea, Minnesota.
Oh, darn.
So I wonder if this is new enough that King Sealy had bought out AGM by that point, maybe. Interesting. I'm gonna slide this back a little bit so we can get the camera up here and kind of angle it down over the side, putting those these sides out kind of blocks my view from there. I guess I can turn that a little bit too. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight on there. But I did have this burning there, but I think by the time I got it burning, it needed repressurized, and to repressurize it, I would have had to carry it over to the camper, and because I did not have my regulator, so I would have to carry it to the camper, try to air it up. Yeah, I had that little 12-volt pump. That's what I was using, because you just set it how much PSI you want to go into it. All right, we'll set that off to the side, because I think by the time I get it lit, it's probably going to need to have some more pressure added to it. The instructions say to light, valve handle at right end of case must be closed. So that is the one for this second burner, and it's shut. Open black valve about 1 turn. That's about 1 full turn. Light match. Open red valve slowly, hold match at burner under generator until it lights. When I first tried to light it up there, I just was not opening this red valve near far enough. It's got a tip cleaner that comes out the end of it, and you have to get it open a ways before it starts going. Now already that's burning better than I ever got it up there, and I think it's probably just because I got kind of proper pressure in it now. But it's got to heat up this big spot in the generator, and the other one of these we had when I researched it, it said that that big spot in the generator was something to do with making it able to burn leaded fuel in here.
Yeah, I remember that.
We got a little bit of fire coming out where the end of the generator goes in there, but I think as it gets hot and vaporized a little bit more, that will probably take care of itself. And like I tell people all the time, big old fire extinguisher 3 feet away from me on the wall. If you're doing this stuff inside, make sure you have a fire extinguisher. Alright, now I think I can close the black valve. What it does is the black valve lets a little bit of air from the top of the tank come in to mix with the fuel that's being picked up from the bottom of the tank, so you're getting a more air-rich mixture for lighting it off of. That's all the way open. So let's try give it another shot, because when you're letting that air in, you also lose pressure out of your tank pretty quick. That brought her to life. Alright, calm down, so My guess is there was a lot of fuel in that wide spot in the pipe, and now when it all of a sudden got more pressure. Look at that though, that's a nice flame. I guess we should try to light the second burner just for the heck of it. Yep. Keeps lighting and going out, so we'll open this red valve a little bit more now. There we go. Just didn't have enough pressure for both of them there. Look at that, that looks good though. Looks real nice. Well, since I got the stove going, I got to cook something on it. So I stopped down at the grocery store on the way out here and bought a pound of hamburger, and I'm going to cook Dad and I some hamburgers for lunch.
Oh, I'm hungry.
I'm not. I was dumb enough to eat a big breakfast this morning and then decide to do this, but...
I'll eat yours too.
Okay, I'm going to pause the camera here. Watch, I'll shut the second burner off. I'll turn the first one down to where it's just at a simmer here so that it stays preheated. Then I'm going to get my hamburger patties ready. Let's turn this down to where it's just burning enough to stay warm. Okay, I got three approximately 1/3 pound balls of hamburger here. Looks like I didn't measure perfect. That one might be a little bit smaller, but since I measured by just grabbing a handful, that's pretty close. I guess, yeah, we'll go ahead and set this here. Got my old Wagnerware, I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not, Wagnerware skillet. This is one of the ones that usually I use this for cornbread. This is typically a cornbread skillet at home. I'm going to set that on there. Open the fuel up a little bit more. Try to get a shot down here while that's heating up.
I'm going to give a little more fire now.
I just did right before I got the camera down here. I opened it up a little bit more, yeah. We'll heat it up slow and then I can turn it up a little bit more once I actually have the burgers thrown in there. Okay. I got about 1/3 of a stick of butter here. I'm just going to throw that whole chunk in there. So Dad'll have to take a lactate pill with this. We're making it with real butter. Apparently my skillet's not completely level on there. That'll be fine. We're going to have a pretty good pool of butter here in the bottom, but that's alright. I've never heard anybody complain about having too much butter. Except for Dad, because he's lactose intolerant, but he could take a pill with it. And then I got leftover onion from camping this weekend that we had on our hot dogs. and on the burgers that we cooked on Saturday, and in the breakfast mess that we cooked Saturday. Everything I had onions in it. So I'm going to make some little piles of onions here. Let those cook for just a minute. I'm going to take one of those and set on top of each pile of onions. Pretty sure everybody probably knows how to make smash burgers. And then I got a really dirty, crusty old skillet here to use to smash these down, so I'm going to put a piece of wax paper over top of it while I smash all those down. Because this skillet probably has botulism and everything else on it. Go around the edges a little bit where the skillet didn't reach really good and smash that down just a little bit more. And it is already starting to smell good in here. Back the camera up just a little bit so we don't get grease splatters on the camera. And on the top, just got a little bit of Montreal steak seasoning. That's just a good basic seasoning for whatever. Sprinkle a little bit of that on top of there. And I usually try to take some of the onions that squished out around the edge. Usually I do these on the flat top at home, not in a skillet. But try to take some of the onions that squished out around the edges and flip them up on top of the patties here. This one's big. It buried all of them. We didn't squish out of that one very much. Throw them up on top of there. And kind of smash them right down in there so they stay put for the ride when you flip it over. These hamburger buns I brought out here, I thought were the ones that took camping this weekend, but they're from Hy-Vee, so they're definitely not the ones that took camping. I wonder how old these are.
If they're not blue, they'll be okay.
Yeah, but you were eating month-old hot dog buns this weekend when we were camping.
They weren't blue.
I don't know, I can't find the date on here, so they must be good.
Oh yeah, they're good.
I'm pretty sure if they're Hy-Vee, they're probably from my wife's birthday party, which was 2 weeks ago, so. I'll let those go until they're ready to be flipped. Until I start seeing this one starting to get color creeping up around the top, because the smash burgers with all these onion on them do tend to want to fall apart if you try to flip them too many times, so.
I'll go get some mustard and ketchup.
I have got a fresh tomato out of my garden at home. It is October 20th, and I picked a bunch of a bunch of tomatoes and froze some tomatoes yesterday. So after I flip these, I'll slice up that one. I should have kept a larger one out and not froze it. That's the only one that I didn't freeze that is completely red. This time of year, it's getting cool enough. As soon as they start turning, I pick them and set them in my windowsill on the back porch and let them finish ripening in there.
And if they get too ripe, the chickens get them.
Yep. I try to, when they start getting a bunch of them that are starting to get just a little bit soft, I just bag them up and throw them in the freezer, and I use them throughout the winter. Alright, I'm going to give these a flip. See what they're looking at, like on the bottom side here. Starting to get a little color on them. I'll let these two bigger ones go another couple minutes. That's not quite as much color as I'd like to see. I'll give it just a little bit more heat too. Okay, I'm going to try flipping these now. We'll see what kind of color they have on the bottom side of them now. Looking pretty good. And a little smash back down again, keep them from being too damn thick. Tip the skillet back here and let the butter run to the uphill side, and then set it back down, let it run back down through there. And this 1/4 tomato, I should have kept a larger one out, but I'll slice that up quick and we can just have our butter onion smash burgers with a slice of fresh garden tomato on it. I wiped my pocket knife on my pan, so it ought to be plenty sterile for cutting up tomatoes. Oh, come on. This one over. There we go. Looks like we each get 2 slices of tomato.
That's a good one.
We'll make do with it. Well, we usually don't get fry grease splattered on our rubber mat here. Well, I didn't bring a meat thermometer with me, but I feel like those are probably just about done. Pull them off, set them over here. Let them rest for a minute, and I'll scrape up a bunch of these onions and throw back on top of them. Here. Fire's burning good, and I'm going to go back and clean that skillet and bring it back out there before I shut the fire off. I guess I can turn it down a little bit. Go back and clean the skillet before I shut the burner off so I can dry the skillet, and that'll give our burgers a couple minutes to sit here and cool. I'll be right back. Okay, got my skillet scrubbed out. I like to wash them while they're still hot. If you clean them before they even have a chance to cool off, and just use as hot of water as I can stand to keep my hands in, and a scrubber pad, scrub them clean, everything comes off pretty easily, and you're good to go for the next time. I don't have any oil to oil this up with, but I'll do that when I get home. At least it's clean and can be dried off now.
There's some WD-40 down here.
Yeah, I'd prefer to not use that. Alright, skillet's nice and dry. Slide it off the side here. Camp stove's burning nice. It definitely likes to burn hotter than when it's turned down, but that's okay. Well, I'm going to look for a correct pump for this. I think it's a good enough stove to spend a few bucks on a pump for it, especially since I've got nothing invested in it right at the moment. We're gonna make some burgers here and eat. It's kind of puffing down there, and I bet that's because this accumulator is full of fuel and gonna burn out for a couple more minutes. Slide this over a little farther. Ooh, that's kind of hot. I don't think it's too hot for the rubber mat though, but it definitely is kind of warm underneath there. It doesn't have any legs. It sits right down on whatever surface it's on. Alright, you want the biggest one, medium, or smallest one?
Yep.
Yeah, the buns don't have any mold on them. They should still be good.
They'll be fine.
Alright, I'll give you the medium one on there.
That'll be fine too.
Couple tomato slices on there. I guess the camera's not even pointing at that. No, I put it together upside down.
I can do it that way.
Yeah. Alright, there's yours.
Alright.
Throw mine together here. Dad's coming out like a champ here. He gets the leftover, gets lunch, gets to keep the leftovers here.
You bet. That sounds good.
Hopefully, the way the weather's looking, I might have another week or so before it freezes hard enough to kill my tomatoes and get a little bit more fresh tomatoes yet this year.
Very good.
Let's see. That's about perfect. Just a little bit pink in the middle still.
Yep, it is. It's good.
And by this time of year, I'm kind of getting over fresh tomatoes, but dang, they're still good. But next year, by the time I start getting fresh ones off the vine, I'll be really wanting them again. But once they're on and going, I eat fresh tomatoes just about every day until they're gone. Alright folks, I'm going to wrap it up for this week. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. It's something a little bit different than normal, but we haven't done a stove video in a while. So thanks for watching. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. It really does help us out. It's free for you. Give the video a like, leave a comment. YouTube likes and comments on the videos. And come on back next week. We'll definitely have a video or something here for you to watch. Thanks again for watching, folks.